Hey, what's going on? I just really wanted to take a couple of quick minutes here to go over what's happening in the mortgage world. Right now, you may or may not be aware, but the government has created an environment where they're going to aid or back up the financial institutions who chartered banks, more specifically, um, with doing a deferral program. Unlike your regular deferral feature that most mortgages have, where if you need to or want to skip a payment, you do, it goes to the end of the term, but typically that's only once. And in this new situation, they are apparently willing to go up to 6 months, but there are rules and regs attached to this program. And what I wanted to do now is just take a couple of minutes to summarize it, or maybe even explain it a little more than in a summary fashion. But I'm going to encourage you nonetheless to go and talk to your institution, or if it's a private lender that you have, talk to them because maybe there are compassionate circumstances that would allow for a deferred payment or some other structure that would be useful given circumstances. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to open up this company called Verico. Verico is like the Remax of mortgage companies. It's the parent company, and then there are a number of other franchises that it are under it. And why I'm telling you this is because Verico has put together an information package, 10 points that relate to the terms that the government and the institutions are putting in place for aiding people who need it. So I'm going to go over them real quick here. And I have a camera shy person, a mortgage broker with me. She's on the other side of the camera. So you may hear a voice every once in a while if I need some clarification. But anyway, we'll get started. So number one here, deferred mortgage payments are discretionary. So what this ultimately means is you can't just contact your bank and say, hey, you know what, I'm employed, don't want to make a payment this month, so or maybe for the next 6 months I want to do some other stuff, and hey, just set me up. It's not like that at all. Because it's discretionary, you have to present your case to the institutions, and they have to approve it. So therefore, it's not. And some people are under the impression where it's just, hey, we are going to tell our banks we don't want to make a payment, and that's it. Well, that's not the case at all. You're welcome. By the way, I'll just start off with saying this: you're welcome to have this in PDF format if you're interested in the document, which gives you a fair amount of detail. Just feel free at any point in time to request it, and I'll have it emailed to you, etc. So, deferred mortgage payments are discretionary. That's number one. Number two, no lender is going to forgive your mortgage payment. So that's clear. Just because you miss it doesn't mean that they're going, we don't need our dough. They're definitely going to want their money, and this is where the deferral, takes place by putting it at the end of the mortgage, which I'll explain in a little bit. So, number three, true financial hardship must be demonstrated. Therefore, they're going to want to see your circumstances. You're laid off, you're part of the non-essential group, even if you are part of the essential group, but the circumstances are such that you can't work or there is no work, in your sector. Your bank account, they want to see your financials, in as much as what's your equity position, et cetera, et cetera. They'll likely do a credit check. So it's not just a carte blanche, hey, I need the help and the bank is going to give it. It's just not that way. Although it is there for people who are willing to put the work in to prove their status and move on. And we don't know quite yet how backlogged this is, nor do we know how long it will take for the approval. But my recommendation is if you're going to be needing it or wanting it, get in there right away. Know what your institution is going to be requiring, and don't postpone. No procrastination, because it'll end up hurting you if this is something that you need. Number 4, if you do not currently fall into this distress category, please do not call your lender at this time. And like I was mentioning, there is no chance of you just saying, "Hey, man, I want to miss a payment, Mr. Banker. I'm not going to pay you, and everything's okay." Doesn't work that way at all. Number 5, deferring mortgage payments will not hurt your credit score, which is the case. This is not considered a missed payment. This is merely a deferred payment. And because they're offering this structure, missing a payment will not adversely affect your credit rating. Number 6, deferred payment programs are typically capped at 6 months. Now, typically capped if you have extenuating circumstances, and the bank, I suppose, has some degree of compassion. They may make an exception. And I guess it depends on the overall scenario and how exposed we are and for what length of time. But at this moment, it's roughly 6 months. And from my understanding, this is on a month-by-month basis. So you can't just say, "Hey, man, Mr. Banker Guy, I want to take 6 months to deal with this. I'm going to defer all 6 months." My understanding is that, and I'll update this as soon as I know more, but my understanding is that if you choose to go after this particular program or apply for this program, it's going to be on a month-by-month basis. It will not be necessarily all of a sudden you can go, "Yeah, give me a couple of months here." I know I'm repeating myself, but you know what I mean. You have to, I believe, have to submit every month. Communication is a key. I mean, this is obvious, right? A sixth grader would know this. Keep in touch with your bank. If you're going to miss a payment, or, even if somebody that you know may be in this situation, if they're going to miss a payment, have them communicate to the bank. Don't just, one of the tips in here is communicate by email if you have to. You may not be able to get through on the phone, but at least you can show a trail of attempted communication. You can log it, your email. If they say, "Hey, you never got a hold of us," or "Why'd you miss your payment?" "Hey, I tried. I told you I want to apply for the relief or the plan, this deferral plan, but I couldn't get a hold of anybody." This might be very useful to do. So communication, try and call. If you can't call and get through, email. Next, number 8, a mortgage deferred payment program is for your mortgage payment only. Okay, this is a good point. My eyes are messing up, so I'm squinting like a old dude here, which I'm verging on being. Anyhow, property tax installments, insurance premiums are entirely separate. I don't know how the banks are going to deal with mortgages that actually have the mortgage payment and taxes joined together. It's quite simple, obviously. If you have a mortgage that is separate from the taxes, you pay the tax, the city or township, community, whatever, their taxes directly. But nonetheless, you're only going to get, based on what they're saying here, the benefit of the mortgage payment alone. Other options may be available, they're saying here. In addition to rolling missed payments back into your mortgage for a specified period of time, lenders also have the ability to refinance your mortgage to pay out other debt, subject to qualification. So if you're struggling, or somebody you know is struggling, they may, and you have other credit card debts and lines of credit and personal loans, just so that it becomes more economically feasible for you, they may refinance your property as opposed to just deferring the mortgage, or maybe both. I don't know for sure. Number 10, rental property investors may also be eligible. But once again, the circumstances need to be presented, and it's on a case-by-case basis. Instead of going into a really deep dive here, I'll open it up to, if you want to have further discussions, more clarification, or even get in contact with somebody that knows more about the mortgaging than I do, feel free to reach out. No problem whatsoever. This is a time when information is absolutely key and king. If you think one way and the rules or circumstances are another way, it could adversely affect you moving forward. So Again, the offer is there. Reach out anytime. My number, 705-722-5400. I'd also recommend highly that you contact your own institution to definitely find out what their rules and regs are, what their processes are, maybe even check their website to see what steps need to be taken. Anyway, I hope that information has been useful. I'm going to sign off now and take good care. Stay safe.